Hi everybody, it's Mike from Inflatable Boarder, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Nautical 10'6" and 11'6" inflatable stand-up paddleboards by iRocker. Nautical is iRocker's line of budget-friendly, entry-level inflatable stand-up paddleboards. Both the 10'6" and 11'6" versions are extremely similar in performance, but vary in their capacity. Both Nautical boards have a robust feature set and a complete paddleboard kit. Both are an excellent beginner-friendly option and offer a great value. The Nautical paddleboards are made with a standard knitted drop stitch core that uses a knitted fabric material and standard V stitching to give the board its 6-inch thickness. The 10'6" and 11'6" Nautical use a single layer fusion PVC material that's bonded directly to that fabric core, and they have an internal rail layer that's glued to the board to join the top and bottom, an outer rail layer for additional durability and rigidity, and then additional seam reinforcement strips on the top and bottom of the rail layer for even more durability. Once it's fully built, the Nautical 10'6" weighs about 20 pounds and the Nautical 11'6" weighs about 22 pounds. Both boards have a maximum recommended inflation pressure of 15 psi. In our bend test, we place 170 pounds of weight in the standing area of the board and measure how far the board deflects with that weight on it. The Nautical 10'6" and 11'6" both deflected about 3.2 inches. Now, this does make them some of the least rigid paddleboards that we've tested in our bend test, but our bend test is not the end-all be-all, and what's really more important is how these boards feel on the water, and there is a difference. On the water, I could feel both boards flexing a small amount while standing on the board and during normal paddling. I am a larger paddler at 230 pounds, but I also didn't feel that the flex had any significant reduction in performance during normal paddling. Now, when I was picking up the pace for our speed test, the flex became extremely noticeable and definitely reduced the speed and tracking performance of these boards. And while jumping on the Nautical SUPs, the boards did generate a large amount of flex, but as soon as I stopped, they both had a very smooth and controlled rebound as I slowed back down and the board settled out. While the Nautical boards were not the most rigid in our bend test, they both did feel significantly more stable and solid on the water than what our bend test indicated, and I actually felt very comfortable on both of them. The Nautical paddleboards are available in two different lengths. However, the Nautical 10'6" and 11'6" are both 32 inches wide and 6 inches thick. The 10'6" version has a recommended capacity of 240 pounds, and the 11'6" version is 265 pounds. Now, I do consider these to be a performance-based rider weight capacity rather than a total maximum capacity. You can see me paddling the blue Nautical 10'6" throughout this video, and with the PFD, water, and wetsuit, I'm definitely pushing that 240 pound capacity, and I'm still quite comfortable paddling this board. Both Nautical paddleboards share the same all-around outline that iRocker has embraced across many of its paddleboards. The nose and tail are both kept very broad, which allows the 32-inch width to be carried further through the length of the board. This increases the board's total volume and surface area, making them extremely stable feeling on the water. I didn't feel any tipping or rolling sensations while standing or paddling on the boards, but the slightly less rigid construction does reduce the overall stability a bit compared to the iRocker original paddleboards. There's plenty of room to move around on the deck pad of the boards, and this parallel shape helps keep the Nautical SUPs feeling very consistently stable as you adjust your position along the length of the board if you're making room for a passenger, pet, or if you're wanting to use the tail of the board for a quick pivot turn. Now, while moving to the back of the board to perform a pivot turn, the Nauticals did feel very consistently stable. However, I could also feel that flex in the board as I took each step. And then once the nose was lifted out of the water, I could also feel the board flexing as I turned. So it was stable, but not necessarily the most confidence inspiring if you're new to trying pivot turns. Both the Nautical 10'6" and 11'6" performed very well in our speed testing and definitely surpassed my expectations when looking at these boards on paper. During our speed testing with the Nautical 10'6", I was able to sustain a sprint of about 5.2 miles per hour and reached a top speed of 5.5 miles per hour. On the 11'6", I was able to keep that sustained sprint going at 5.5 miles per hour and reached a peak speed of 5.7 miles per hour. Now, that is very quick, especially for a paddleboard that's not necessarily as rigid and is going to be flexing more as you're paddling at this cadence and with this amount of power. It's not the fastest all-around paddleboard that we've tested, but it is pretty close. When you slow things down for a more casual cruising pace of around 25 strokes per minute, then both boards do very well with a cruising speed of around 3.3 miles per hour. While at that cruising speed, both boards do glide fairly efficiently, moving about 1.6 board lengths per stroke before they slow down. That is average for an all-around paddleboard, but again, considering the amount of flex in these boards, I actually did find that to be quite surprising. Overall, I was impressed by the speed performance of the Nautical paddleboards. However, I did find them to be the most comfortable while paddling them at a more casual cruising pace rather than trying to sprint across the water. Both the Nautical 10'6" and 11'6" also performed very well in our maneuverability and tracking stress tests. In our maneuverability test, the Nautical 11'6" required just 6.5 paddle strokes to make a complete 360-degree turn from a standstill. When you back that up and use a reverse stroke, it only needed about 4 strokes on average to complete the same turn. That maneuverability performance increased noticeably with the Nautical 10'6", needing fewer than 5 strokes to make that forward 360-degree turn, and fewer than 4 strokes to make the reverse 360-degree turn. For our tracking stress test, we'd paddle the boards towards a distant target and then take 10 paddle strokes on a single side and measure how far off course we've moved at the end of the 10th paddle stroke. With the Nautical 11'6", we found that it deviated off course an average of just 11 degrees, and the Nautical 10'6" deviated an average of just 13 degrees. These are really good results for all-around inflatable paddleboards, although it's definitely not to the level of a dedicated touring board. Both the Nautical 10'6" and 11'6" were very easy to steer whenever I needed to move in a different direction, and were also easy to turn in smaller increments of around 90 degrees with just a couple of paddle strokes. We do all of our maneuverability and tracking testing with a complete fin setup that comes with the boards. In the case of the Nautical paddleboards, that means we're using a 9-inch center fin and 2 4.5-inch side fins. If you were to remove the 2 side fins, you would have slightly better maneuverability performance and slightly decreased tracking performance. If you were to use just the 2 side fins and remove the center fin, then you would have extremely improved maneuverability performance, but noticeably lacking tracking performance. While the Nautical series paddleboards are more budget-oriented, iRocker manages to pack in an impressive list of features with both the Nautical 10'6" and 11'6" paddleboards. There's a large cargo area on both the front and the rear of the board, and 18 total D-rings, including kayak seat and shoulder carrying strap compatible D-rings in the middle of the board, an anchor D-ring under the nose of the board, and a leash D-ring at the rear. There's one threaded accessory mount that you can use for a camera holder, phone holder, fishing rod holder, or any number of other accessories. And there are 3 carrying handles to make it easy to carry by yourself or with a partner. The deck pad is made with a brushed foam texture that's very soft and comfortable, and it covers around 2/3 of the board. Both the Nautical 10'6" and 11'6" are sold as complete paddleboard kits with the board, fins, leash, repair kit, and a 3-piece fiberglass nylon paddle. All of this fits into a lightweight backpack style bag, and while it doesn't have wheels, it does have some nicely padded shoulder straps, and the overall kit weight is low enough that it's still very pleasant to carry without wheels. The Nautical 10'6" and 11'6" both include a 3-piece fiberglass and nylon paddle. The paddle shaft is made from fiberglass, as is the handle section. The grip itself is made from a plastic material, and the handle uses iRocker's pin and clip system for length adjustment. This makes it easy to repeatedly set the same length, and it also automatically aligns the paddle handle to the paddle blade, so you don't have to worry about it being twisted or out of position whenever you adjust the length. The blade is made from a fiber reinforced nylon material, and it has a nice medium size and rectangular shape that makes it very comfortable and easy to use both at a casual cruising pace, or if you do want to pick up the speed, it's very easy to do that with shorter paddle strokes. There is a noticeable amount of flex in this paddle when you are paddling with more power for more speed. However, it is a very comfortable paddle to use for a long day on the water. And while it is a little bit heavier than the iRocker carbon fiber paddle, it is still very well balanced, so it doesn't feel heavier than it needs to be. The Nautical iSUPs by iRocker are one of our top recommendations for paddlers on a budget. These boards are built well and have beginner-friendly stability, a great blend of maneuverability and tracking performance, and they can be used for just about any paddling activity you can think of. Paddlers over 200 pounds will appreciate the extra volume of the 11-foot 6-inch version, as will anyone paddling with a child or pet. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully I've answered all of your questions about the Nautical 10-foot 6 and 11-foot 6 paddleboards by iRocker. But if I did leave something out or you do have more questions, please let us know in the comments below. In the video description, you can find a link to the full written review for both the Nautical 10-foot 6 and 11-foot 6 paddleboards, as well as all of iRocker's other paddleboards and dozens more at InflatableBoarder.com. If you've liked this video or found it useful, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of our future video content. Feel free to share this with a friend, family member, coworker, or total stranger. And if you are considering purchasing the Nautical 10-foot 6 or 11-foot 6, we'd appreciate it if you'd use the link in our video description. It doesn't cost you anything extra, but it does help support our YouTube channel and bring you more paddleboarding content. Thanks for watching, don't forget your PFD, and happy paddling!